Heath here from pickinglessons.com. In this guitar lesson we're going to take a look at a Celtic fingerstyle arrangement of a very pretty tune by the name of the Ash Grove. In a moment we're going to have a look at part A of the tune here in this lesson, but if you head on over to pickinglessons.com you better get yourself a copy of the tab we're working from. The tab has your finger marks for the right hand and the left hand in there. You'll also find part 2 of this lesson where we take a look at part B and break that down, so pickinglessons.com. Okay, let's start out with a slow play through part A and then we'll break it down and work on some exercises to help us get to know the tune. Part A, once through. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so there's part A of the Ash Grove. Firstly, we're in 3/4 time, so we're in waltz time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're also in drop D tuning, so we're low D on string 6, and then A, D, G, B, and E. So drop D tuning there. Now what we're going to have a look at very briefly before we get into the tune and how to play it. In the right hand, I've been using a combination of free stroke and rest stroke. I'm going to just run you through it very quickly and give you an exercise to practice. So free stroke essentially is when we're following through with a finger free of the guitar, not touching any other strings, and the finger tends to curl a little bit more as you come through. So for example, if I play just the melody, I was just using index and middle sort of alternating there. That was a free stroke. Now the rest stroke is where you play and follow through to the string above the string you just played and have a listen to the difference. It gives the note a fuller, slightly louder sound, so I've been using that primarily as I've played the melody in the preview there you would have seen. There are some free strokes in there as well. It kind of depends on which part of the tune I'm in and what else is happening. But as a guide, use the rest stroke where you can. So sometimes it's not really that easy because we might be playing more of an arpeggio in that fashion. But a lot of this tune is purely just moving melody, like the first measure, for example. So I'm going to give you an exercise. Just play the melody notes, just working on the rest stroke. First 2 measures, that would be great. And so notice the rest stroke, the finger stays relatively straight, or straighter than a free stroke. If I play that same melody with a free stroke, rest stroke. So getting used to those 2 techniques as a starting point will really help define the melody a little stronger. And where you can, I'd suggest trying to use that rest stroke as well. Now, sometimes it's not going to be as easy, particularly when you've got a bass note with it, so that's okay, just use a free stroke, like those 2 notes just there in measure 4. But we'll go through it and we'll work on some of this as we go. So let's have a look at what's happening from the beginning here. I'd be using all rest stroke in there. And really the goal is just to keep alternating these fingers if you can, index and middle, index and middle, index and middle. Keep an eye on the tablature if you're not sure. I've got the fingering marked in there, but really just kind of alternate those fingers, rest stroke where you can, free stroke where we need to. But that first measure, or rest stroke, works great. Second measure over the B minor. We can go a bit of a rest stroke, maybe free stroke for those next 2. Measure 3 there. Or rest stroke, nice and strong, a busier melody, and we're going to bring it out by using that rest stroke. Hand position there in your left hand, that first finger, as the B minor was your first finger. The A position. So here on those 2 notes, I'm using the thumb plus the free stroke. Rest stroke, then a free stroke. when the bass note comes in, particularly when they're a bit closer. It's a little more awkward to play that technique, so the free stroke is fine there. Measure 5. We can use our rest stroke in there pretty well. Start up with a free stroke, rest stroke, watching the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, and third finger there from that 4th fret F sharp. We're going to shift across to the G. And this is a measure that I find the free stroke is great. More of that arpeggio that we would normally perhaps play with a free stroke anyway. Same with the D here in measure 7. Then all 3 fingers and thumb to play these chords. So our A position, A chord there, and D. So we're using the rest stroke where we can to help strengthen our melody. Free stroke is absolutely fine as well, where we need to, or if you prefer, use the free stroke throughout. It really doesn't matter. Just remember, melody is king. Melody should be on top of the mix, and the accompaniment should be, as such, accompanying the melody. So keep an eye on the tablature for your left hand fingering marking. Keep an eye on the rest stroke there. Work on it separately if you've never played it before. Just the exercise in the first 2 bars of the melody. Great practice. Bring in the bass notes when you're ready. And then combining the rest stroke and the free stroke together. Okay, so part 2 of this lesson. Head over to pickinglessons.com. We'll have a look at part B together. We'll break it down into some exercises. You'll be able to get yourself a copy of the tab, and I'll see you there.